Hey guys, this is Doug May with That Audio Guy. In the videos up to this point, we took a look at the layers in Omnisphere. We went through the layer pages and discussed the different elements that are used to build the layer, things like envelopes and modulation. Hopefully at this point you have a pretty good understanding of how the layer works. If you remember from this image that I showed you earlier in this series, the two layers in Omnisphere come together to form the part or the patch. If you look over here at the interface of Omnisphere, you see the two layers right here that form the patch. And in fact, this entire window right here can be kind of thought of as the part window or the patch window. You can see these tabs up here at the top. There's 8 of them. These represent the parts. For example, if I were to click on this tab 2, it opens up a new part with new layers, new settings, all of that good stuff. At this point, you're probably starting to realize, if you haven't yet, that the layering possibilities in Omnisphere are enormous. For example, you could set up all 8 of these parts, each with their own 2 layers that have their own sounds and modulation and all that good stuff going on. The possibilities are basically endless, especially when you consider that you can upload your own audio samples to use. So just like we had a browser when we were in sample mode in the layer pages, we've also got a browser that gives us access to some of the patches that come included in Omnisphere. And to access that, you just need to click this folder icon right here in the part window, and it'll take you to the patch browser. And you can tell again that you're in the patch browser because of this title right here at the top of the window. One thing that I should probably say at this point is that patches in Omnisphere don't necessarily need to be made up of 2 layers. You'll notice as you're going through some of these included patches that some of them only have 1 layer, and that's okay. One thing that I really highly recommend doing, especially now that you have an understanding of layers in Omnisphere, is go through some of these patches and find sounds that you find really interesting. And then go into the layer pages and see what it is that makes those sounds so interesting. Let me show you an example of what I mean. If I'm in the browser and I pick a patch, say I like that sound, it's interesting to me, what I can do is come to the layer pages and then take a look at what it is that's building this sound. As you can see, this patch is made up of 2 layers. One of them's a synth, we've got just a sine wave, and then the other one's going to be a sample, and it looks like it's an organ, probably recorded from an old synthesizer or something like that. When I play a key on the keyboard and hold it, you can hear that the sound is moving, so that tells me there's modulation going on. There's envelopes that are probably involved. What I can do is click in the Mod Matrix zoom window, and this is really telling. And as you can see, there's a lot of modulation going on with this patch. One thing I should say about modulation at this point is when you're in the Mod Matrix zoom window and you see that some of these sources and targets have been grayed out, that means they're not being applied to that layer. So if I click on the next layer, you can see that they lit up. We can see that there's an LFO that's modulating the pan, so the pan's going to be moving back and forth on layer A. The wheel is modulating this parameter right here. Maybe let's take a listen to that because I haven't played with the wheel yet. You can see that white dot moving up the slider. And you can hear what it's doing. It's really cool. And since these other ones are being modulated by the envelopes, what we can do is come take a look at the envelopes in the envelope zoom window. And now you can kind of see the contour of this sound, why it's doing what it's doing and how it's moving. And in fact, if we play a note on the keyboard and watch right here, you'll see a dot that'll move across the envelope, and it helps you to see what's going on real time. So for example, you can hear and also see what the envelope is doing to those parameters that it's modulating. If we come back in here, we see that it's modulating the cutoff, the pitch a little bit. It's also giving some of that synth hard sync effect that we have down here. Really cool stuff. And now we have kind of an insider's look at what's going on with the sound and why it sounds that way. And the reason why I really highly recommend doing this is because if you like a sound and you hear something that's interesting, learn what it is that these synth designers are doing. Learn some of these techniques for getting certain sounds, and that will only help you in the long run as you start to design your own sounds. So what we'll do in the next couple of videos is we're going to go through these tabs right here on the part window, the orb, main, effects, and arpeggiator tabs, and we'll talk about each one of those. Make sure to stay tuned, you guys. There's a lot of really cool stuff coming up in the next few videos. We'll see you there.